Hey, welcome back to the Story Podcast. We're talking about God's story. We're talking about our story and how they fit together. I am back with my good friend Glen Barnes, and I am also with Rosie Thandu. Rosie, welcome. We're so glad that you're here with us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're excited to talk with you. I know you got a chance to look at the message. Rosie, maybe we should frame Rosie before we start anything. Rosie, tell them who you are, where you're from. Just give us the brief overview. We're going to go deeper later.
So my name is Rosie, and I grew up in India, and I had an arranged marriage at the age of 18 to my wonderful husband, Anand.
See, she used the word wonderful. We know it's going well because she said wonderful.
Yeah. What percentage?
It started off that way.
What percentage of the marriages are arranged in India? Is that common or uncommon?
It is like most of our marriages. I would say over 90% are arranged marriage.
Yeah.
And you guys fell in love too. I see you together, and you've got a very, very loving marriage.
Yes, actually, we just celebrated our 25th anniversary.
Yeah, congrats.
And I would say it's been good. God's been good, and we're excited to where He's gonna lead us.
Yeah.
So I got married, and then Anand was already working in the U.S., and I came here to America, introduced to Walnut Creek, California.
Walnut Creek, just over the hill.
Just landed
One
there.
of America's nicest places, honestly, Walnut Creek.
It's beautiful. So, yeah, that's me. I grew up in strong Christian family, and we grew up in the mission field all our life.
That's great. And we'll tell them why you're wearing what you're wearing and the whole story behind the story in just a few minutes. You know, this week we were obviously talking about Paul and his final days is what Glen preached on over there, and living with no regrets. Right? Glen, no regrets. But this idea of living out our life based on a mission that we've been called to. And I thought maybe it might be just fun to share each of our call, because Paul was called to this mission on the Damascus Road, and he would live it out vociferously, like throughout the rest of his life, all the way till the last days, where he would pour out his life like a drink offering, right? Talk about your call, like when you sensed God's call, and then Rosie, your story's the best. I'm going to save it for last.
So I became a Christian as a 17-year-old in high school, and then went off to Christian college. Kind of God directed me there. And I was working as a volunteer in youth ministry, and through a series of things, some of it just being faithful to work in the youth ministry. I enjoyed it. People affirmed me in it. And then just started feeling, not an out loud voice, but sensing God's call to, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And actually from very early on, even though my Christian background wasn't always necessarily in the local church, it was in Young Life, I always felt called to help shepherd the local church. And you know, I couldn't tell you the day or the time that became clear, but I could tell you the season. And for me, my calling has always been, I can't do anything else. Because trust me, sometimes you think about what else you could do. And I always say, you know, every pastor's got his like, what else could I do? Dream. So for, you know, those.
They might be opening a Chick-fil-A. I would be great at that.
Yeah, that's a good one. Right. I always thought I could just be a UPS driver or something like that. But anyways, the point is, if I did anything else, my life would be regress, because that's not what I was called to.
Yeah.
And so that's always held me tight into God's call.
The line that I heard early on in ministry was, if you can do anything else, do it.
Do it.
If you can't do anything else, you're called and you need to go into vocation.
That's 100% my story.
And it really is true. And largely because it's too hard. There's a lot of things that people don't realize. They just think we work one day a week and we preach a sermon and that's it. But there's
How about you, Steve?
There's a lot of things. Mine is just, although I grew up in the church, I was in the church nursery when I was 6 days old, and grew up with grandparents that were like the superintendents of the Sunday school at my church. And I accepted Jesus as a 6-year-old and got baptized as a 13-year-old. So I was really in the church my whole life. And I sort of came to that same realization after going through college. You know, everybody has a wilderness year or something like that. I had it, you know, 1 year in college, and then I came back to Sacramento State. I'm a state school guy here in California, but ended up in InterVarsity, which is, you know, kind of the college version of Young Life in a lot of ways, and gave my whole life and my whole heart to that. We used to say that we majored in InterVarsity, we minored in whatever we were studying. And so I did that. And it was just clear through some summers at Mount Hermon in that. And I do have a moment. I was in the fun shack at Mount Hermon. I told God, I'll serve you. And so I immediately went off and got a regular job like people do, you know, but God's call on my life was undeniable. And I was volunteering every minute of my life in youth ministry back in the day in my little church in San Jose. not too far from Walnut Creek.
Yeah.
And basically got, was saying, what are you doing, man? Like, this is who I wired you to be. And so I took the leap, and I've been in vocational ministry for almost 30 years. So,
Wow.
yeah. Tell us your story, because your story's a good one.
So I grew up in strong Christian family, which was unusual. My dad was a Hindu, and God saved him through a divine encounter when he was 19.
Wow.
And he is a wonderful, powerful man of God. So I grew up with family in the mission field, and I have two brothers. And we are musical. I mean, if there's a coffee table, there's drumming there.
Yeah.
there's music coming out of our house. So it was our soul.
Yeah.
We would, like, even if we had a day off, Dad would just take us among the villages, and we would sing songs and minister there.
Yeah.
So God has been a major part of my life, and I always felt that was a huge blessing, to know Him at a young age, to see what faith is like, to see how, the works of the Acts of Apostles. We've seen God work when we ministered in the villages. And I always had a heart of mission. I always had a heart to serve Him. Always loved children. And I believed that God brought me here to be a resource to help, the ministry back in India. But little did I know that I would actually
Tell people about God bringing you here, though. You ended up in America. I mean, tell that story.
Yeah. So I was married at 18, and my husband Anand was already working here as a software professional. And I get married. I came here, and I absolutely fell in love with America. I was just fascinated about how clean it was, the roads. You can walk and your shoes are still clean. And I loved the supermarkets. I keep saying I loved the dishwashers.
Yes.
I loved the million types of apples, and I just loved the studying here as well. Education was so different here and interactive. And I was attending Walnut Creek Presbyterian Church there. I was in the gospel choir and worship team. I was definitely living my dream. And then I graduated from Cal State, Hayward, East Bay now.
East Bay?
With high honors in software engineering. And we had our house in Antioch, Brentwood area. We saw it being built, which was really cool because ours is like cement, bricks. It's very different. And here it's nuts and bolts, and picked our own carpets, colors, and granite. And it was an amazing life that we had here. Designed our backyard and planted apple trees. 'Cause this was all very different than what we've grown.
Did you ever drive by that house?
Actually, I did. I did. Last year, one of my very good friends, she wanted to take videos of the things I liked so I can show it back to the children in India. And one of that was going back to the house, and it was really neat. It looks great. I asked Anand if he wanted to drive back. He was like, I don't think so. But I really enjoyed.
But God called you away from that house.
I know. I was so attached to the house because it still smelled very new, and we were just there for over a year and a half. So I think it was really hard to let go, which wasn't my idea. So when we were here, and the ministry we've already started with the 5 kids kept growing, Anand had a strong calling in his heart that God is calling us back, which I was like, that's definitely a wrong voice. And I was like, no, because I just finished school. We have this beautiful house. We have our friends here. I'm in the worship team, and I still want to travel New York and other places. And
did you do the fleece thing? It needs to be wet and then dry and then dry and then wet.
Yes, that was something. And it's like when Anand said we have to go back, I knelt and prayed, and I prayed. I said, what's going on? And this is definitely not God's plan for me. I want to do mission work. I want to support through my finances, through my time. And this is an opportunity. So many people want to be here. And so I said, Lord, please change my husband's mind. And that was my prayer that went on for a long time.
Every spouse has prayed that about their spouse.
Well, God didn't listen to that prayer. And now I think back that it's been amazing. But we made the move back, and it was the hardest time of my life. And I was trying to figure out what just happened to my beautiful life.
Yeah, absolutely. So that call, they came with a little kicking and screaming sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, where are you, God?
Yeah.
I'm here to serve you.
Yeah.
I'm here for you, but what's happening now?
Yeah. I can almost sense that in Paul's story, Glenn. It's a little bit like, Paul has this experience on the road to Damascus, and then there's got to be a whole lot of what does this mean?
Right.
What is my life going to end up looking like? Because I don't know that he had this idea that he was going to be a traveling salesman for the next decade.
But once he zeroes in on I'm the apostle to the Gentiles, that was really helpful to him.
Once his mission is clear and his calling is clear, he knows where to go and to do that. And so I guess it's so funny because even as I think through these things that are in the sermon, and how it relates to you, Rosie, like this idea of Jerusalem, he was moved by compassion for God's people. My hunch is when you got back, you experienced some compassion for God's people in India.
Absolutely. I'd say when I first went back, I was a mess for a couple of months. I was like, where are you, Lord? Are you even there? What's going on? And I kept trying to convince Anand to move back. But slowly he did unveil his picture, and I absolutely fell in love with these children who were already there in the children's home. We were providing them what they need, like food, shelter, clothing, but just loving them, hugging them, and hearing their stories. We became their parents. I became their mommy, and I believe that's the best thing that has ever.
So you started out supporting them financially, which was significant.
Yes.
You were sending money to support these kids in this children's home, but then you moved back and you said, we're going to be hands-on. Is that how that went?
Yeah. And because in one of the mission trips, Anand strongly felt that these children needed more than just giving them food, more than just sending money, that there was this deep hunger for love and support and somebody they can trust on. So as soon as we started spending time with them, first it was, we were talking to them and then come a little closer. And then it's like, okay. It's like, this feels really good. This feels right.
Yeah, it feels right. There's a moment where you get confirmed. But as is Paul's story, and as is all of our story, there's just seasons of difficulty, right? And we see this storm that Glenn painted a picture of, and we've got all these things that happen to Paul, from the serpent and the shipwreck and all these things that talk about some of the difficulties you faced, especially transitioning back. I mean, for me, it's so hard to imagine because you grew up in it, you had a frame of reference, you came over here, you tasted a different world and a different life, and then God called you back, and all of a sudden you're back in that environment that you knew from before, but you're adjusting in a new way in a lot of ways, right? Talk about some of the difficulties you have. I mean, we could talk about ministry difficulties in America, but honestly, we'd love to hear, the things that you faced.
Yeah, like I said, going back was hard, and Vizag was hot and humid. I was more concerned of how am I going to adjust to the weather and what just happened to all the education that I have earned here. How about my friends? And I was very concerned of where my life was heading. But God quickly answered those areas of my life. I had no idea what I was stepping into, which was beyond weather. It was becoming a mommy to these children. It was becoming someone available for them all the time. Everybody needs attention, and seeing what they need, what they love, what they fear, what they enjoy, or what they want to discover. So it was a growing experience for me to learn how to discipline them, to learn how to love them. And then it comes like health problems with 120 children.
Yeah.
It's like,
right.
Okay, Lord, if there's fevers and colds, it's like, how do you learn that? So learn like simple first aid or simple education. But
we can barely handle it with 2 kids at home, Yeah,
and these children come from different families where they have abusive families and where they have not proper upbringing. Every child is different, so the way they act, and so I guess it really made us more dependent on the Lord. Like their health, and then we had undergone more issues with starting up projects with unexpected winds or storms.
Yeah, right.
We have a timeline in place, we have a schedule in place, and it's like, why, Lord, is it not going on?
Right.
We're doing the right thing. And Anand and me are very academically, we love projects, we love things getting done
On time,
and
on
we love
budget.
so it's like, what's going on? So it's a time of, I think, waiting and unexpected hurdles that we've never expected for. And also, as a missionary, the spiritual warfare and the things that we had to deal with, we didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
Which was definitely not in our schedule, planned schedule. But
You also face some challenges too. India's always been a Hindu country, but that seems to be stepping up even more with kind of this Hindu nationalism. And so that's led to some persecution and struggles as well. Is that
yes,
accurate?
definitely. It has been an ongoing part. And just getting things done, or getting our permits, getting even our street lights in our properties, or getting our roads done, we've had a lot of issues where it was also a concern for safety for the children, the staff, and we started every step. We felt like we were getting deeper and deeper into this calling, where we don't know what to expect, we don't know where we're going. And our only option was to look up, saying, okay, you're there, we're doing the right thing, Lord, and you brought us here, so you please lead us.
It's funny, Glen's sermon outline sort of talks about this. When you're facing those storms of life, it says, what can I do? That's really kind of calling the why. It's these kids for you. What can I do without? You had to give up a lot.
Yeah.
You had to give up a lot to go do it. But then there's this, where is my hope? And I guess I would ask you that even now, in the midst of some of the challenges, because you talked a little bit about them. What is it that you're like? What are you dreaming about? What is the hope for the future of the ministry that you're involved in right now? And maybe even personally, or even for you and Aman, like, what does that look like? What is your hope these days?
In the beginning, when every step, it was a little scary. We never knew we would end up where we are and where God is taking. So it's like, okay, Lord, I can do this. Okay, Lord, I can do this. And then as He's taking, by now I can understand that His plan is so much bigger, because Rosie wanted the American dream, and my dream would have been a 9-to-5 job here in the Bay Area with my beautiful home and weekend getaways and my nice friends circle. And here is the Lord just exploded that. And I am, based on what I'm doing, I have get to be a mommy of 1,000 children and more, and it's counting. And I constantly get amazing people in my journey, in our lives, where they say, we're here for you, we're here to support you, we love you. And it's so priceless, it's so amazing. And so by now I understand, okay, Lord, if it was my plan and it was my design, it's really small. And now I trust you, because your plan is so much bigger and better. And He's still writing the story where I understand that, He has the best for us. So we hope that this vision that God has created us to make an impact to the community, to the children, that the children we raise would catch that vision and make an impact back in their communities. And also, God has placed a special vision for us in the education wing.
Yeah, tell us about your hope, or your vision of the future. I think, we surrender our plans to the Lord in a lot of ways, but that doesn't mean we don't make plans, or that we don't dream dreams, or that we don't start projects, right? And you guys are in the middle of sort of that phase right now.
Yeah, so when we started educating our children, we realized they were failing, and very quickly we knew that they have the potential, and we started training them, teaching them at home. I have observed many schools around the area, Christian schools, many homeschool moms, and took some classes in Patton University. So we have developed a beautiful model that is, our children are doing really good, 100% graduation. We have nurses, teachers, we have business people, we have children working overseas. And it's really amazing developing this this curriculum embedded with the values that the Lord has taught us. So our vision, where God is taking us to open a large Christian school, which would enable many children to experience that. And it would be a school that will have students from all classes, all castes, receiving top quality education.
That's awesome.
And in a good, reasonable price. And they learn the values to serve, to help, to love, to be confident, and to be an individual to influence the community for good. And that's where we believe God's taking us now, and we're very excited about that.
Yeah. So it's going to involve a building and all the challenges that go along with education, I assume, teachers and curriculum and tools, you know, I would assume even computers, given you and Aman's background, right?
Yes, we're looking forward to building our school, a full-fledged school with a library, with the labs, with a playground.
Right.
And we do have a wonderful team behind us that are helping us, but it's a huge project, and it's again one of that time in our lives where we say, Lord, it's your work, and we believe you'll do it. And we are looking forward to what God has in store for us through this project.
Glenn and I both know the history of our country is, in a lot of ways, Christian organizations stepped in very specifically in education and in healthcare in a lot of ways that established systems that just didn't exist, right? The government has taken it over in a lot of ways, but this is how it started, is that we get in people's lives, we train them up in regular education and education in our world and in how to employment and all the things that you're doing. And yet we infuse it with the gospel, and we give people the good news of Jesus Christ, and we watch him transform lives.
Absolutely. And just watching our kids do that and being transformed, and they're really good in school, and then they've developed the strong faith and love and a heart for mission in their own communities. One of our older boys has started his own charity.
Yeah, that's great.
Wow.
That's great. Hey, one thing that maybe our audience might enjoy getting unpacked is a little bit this idea of class and caste. It's very specific to India, right? It's something that, in America, we have bootstrap stories, being pulled up by our bootstraps, somebody succeeding in, in some industry or something like that. But caste and class are a little different in India. Can you explain that a little bit to them so they understand sort of the system that these kids are raised in and how you're trying to give them the gospel for all classes and castes, really, right?
Yeah, so caste is something that has been a part of our culture for a very long time. It kind of came about in place based on the profession you did.
Mm-hmm.
And so a shepherd was a shepherd's caste, a barber was a barber caste, a priest was a priest caste.
But you were born into it, right?
Yeah, so that's how it first started, and then it got so rigid that the caste that you were entitled to, you never got out of the caste.
Yeah, right.
Despite of your profession that you end up with. And then it became a social evil for us, where there was untouchables, and the lower caste communities were not given certain benefits, or there were like pockets even segregated in villages.
Yeah.
So the beauty of, I think, God's love and Christianity is when even in churches, we have everybody from all class and caste sitting in together, hugging and, greeting each other. And that's exactly the model that's going to be in the school, because it's going to be all caste and class. Now, class is similar to what you have. I think you have here. It's based on your monetary status.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So you can climb up the class ladder, but you can never come out of the caste.
Yeah, which is a foreign idea to us. Right. Because if you climb in class, that's it. You climb. That's it. Yeah.
But the idea of the gospel just being bigger than that, and the unity in Christ, that's really a wonderful picture. I love that.
And I know you said this to us earlier while we were talking, though. The idea behind this school is that it's a place for all castes.
Absolutely.
And all classes, yeah.
Absolutely, because all our children who come from all different kind of backgrounds, caste and class, they will be getting free education. We will also be able to give a very significant portion of opportunities to the community over there. again, all castes and poor kids in class. And it's going to open up for the community as tuition paying students. So it's going to be a really unique model where we have all castes in one place, getting really good education and learning the values that that the Lord teaches us.
That's great.
But it'll also be sustainable because you'll have many children that'll go for free, but some that will be
Yes.
able to pay a tuition, those that are able to, and that will
Yes.
help sustain things.
Absolutely. And that's been the vision of this ministry, to make it eventually self-sustainable.
Yeah.
And this school model that we have designed
Yeah.
is going to help doing that.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like world-class or high-class education will attract the people from the high castes and the high classes, and they will be able to afford it because of tuition.
Right.
But you are going to intentionally include the lower castes and the lower class in order to create a gospel kingdom community in some ways, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
And
that's-
it's going to be so beautiful and unique.
Yeah.
That's what we're excited about.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, if people haven't picked up on it yet, this year at Christmas time, we're going to be asking people to give to this.
Yeah,
And it's a
absolutely.
really good thing.
Part of our Advent conspiracy is going to be to give to this. We're talking about short-term mission trips, even next year perhaps,
Yes.
where we might get a chance to come to India and get a chance to see this in action and hopefully be a tangible blessing to this process for you guys.
Absolutely.
We're-
We are getting so excited, and please come on over, and we would love for you to meet our children, and we're looking forward to that.
Absolutely. One last question for both of you, actually
Okay.
probably for all three of us, because the real root so what question was this idea of like, how do we live without regrets?
Yeah.
You know, how would you sum up your life? If you get to the end of your life, Rosie, and you can look back and say, I'd have no regrets if. Or Glenn, same thing for you, and maybe you and I in some ways in here in America serving God in where he's called us to, like, what does it look like to look back and have no regrets? What do you think?
I think for me, it's got to be rooted in faithfulness, because you have daily regrets. You have things you wish you did different or treated someone different. But to be able to say, like Paul, finish the race, mission accomplished. To me, that's about faithfulness. And and so when you know what God's purpose is for you, to be faithful to that is no regrets for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely would say that too. And I would also say being obedient to him. Because sometimes when you're walking in his path, and our idea of success is very different than what God really wants. Sometimes, the things we want in our timeline, we may not even see it, but the steps that he's building in our life. So I feel like if I know I'm doing his work today, if I'm, even if the road is hard, if I'm being obedient and walking through that, no regrets.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, when I think of no regrets and finishing this race, as Paul was alluding to, obviously, there's this idea of not wanting to trip and fall at the end. And success is, the word that you use is really good, because our definition of success is, boy, I'd like to do my next ministry and have it be up and to the right and have it look a little better and have it do a little more and all that other kind of stuff. But sometimes doing a little more means walking away from your degree and your high-paying job and all those things and going where God has commanded you to go. And so I say it often to God in my prayers, like, anywhere, anytime, God, wherever you want me, I'll go. But there's a lot of times where it couched in my mind is it's got to look this way or it's got to feel this way. So I really want to mean that prayer when I say it. God, anywhere, anytime, and then I'll live with no regrets.
And it's really amazing that, God can, the way he works out too, he can addresses what really matters to us as well. And he's been taken care of, and he's blessed us so much with everything that mattered for us. And he never leaves us when we're walking in his path. And that's the adventure of this all.
And we focused on some of the obstacles, but all the joy too that was
Yes.
brought to you.
Absolutely.
Rosie, you said something kind of interesting. You mentioned a couple of times here in the United States, you were living the dream, which is a very American way of saying it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, it's not like it was a bad dream, but it wasn't God's dream for you.
Yes.
And so to say yes to God's dream is a no regrets.
Yes, and Anand often jokes is like, okay, Rosie, you want to go back from India to, you want to live in America for good now, and then he knows my answer.
It is hard to quantify the joy and the smiles and the hugs of children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love visiting.
Yeah.
and I make the most of it.
Yeah.
I love all the food here,
Yeah.
and I love my Target store. I bag up my shampoo, my moisturizer,
There you go, okay.
everything I need.
Take it back and see how long it lasts.
Yeah, and then when it ends, I know I have to come back.
Yeah.
But just like soak in with the love and the
Uh-huh.
support, the energy here, and just to be pampered as kids, you know,
Yeah.
and then go back be mommy again.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, I can tell you what, Target's got nothing on you. Tell us about your gown
Yeah,
here.
sorry,
Come on.
it's a sorry.
You can't get that in Target. I'm telling you right now. It's beautiful.
So this is what we call a sari. It's actually one piece fabric. It comes
Uh-huh.
as a piece fabric, 6.5 meters, and then we tailor it.
6.5 meters. That's like 18, 20 feet. Yeah.
And then we kind of cut it to make a top out of that.
Uh-huh.
And then it's just like we just wrap around with some pleats. And growing up as girls, we watch our moms do it, so
Yeah.
we pick it very quickly. And all the girls always look forward to like wearing a sari.
Yeah.
And yeah, this
It's-
is my favorite color.
It's beautiful.
So any women that come to India on a short-term trip, do they?
They get to make a sorry?
Yeah. The women get to wear Indian clothes, and I'm gonna help in shopping. And this seems complicated. We have other versions too. We have fusions, and we have scarves. It's gonna be so good. And Pastor Glenn, you can wear an Indian outfit as
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Hey, well, thanks for being faithful and sharing your story. It's a great story of what God has been up to in your life and how it relates, I think, to our lives in a lot of ways. So, hey, we're grateful for you joining us today as we talk through the story in Paul's final days. And I just finished the story because I'm getting ready
Yeah.
for the preaching this weekend. So I am done with the story. I'll tell you how it ends this coming weekend as we preach through the end. And it is no joke. So once again, thanks for being
Thank
here,
you.
Glenn, as always. God bless you this week. We'll see you hopefully this weekend at first.